In the previous video, I was playing around with the idea that people with avoidant attachment style have certain advantages in the current global economy. And sort of a negative thing, in my opinion, because the global economy is a source of a lot of unhappiness and environmental destruction. But it occurred to me that there's other advantages that avoidants have that are not so negative. And the main one I'm thinking of is that they can commune with what some might call divinity, whether it's an external divinity, an internal divinity, or something that manifests in their own psyche, or nature. It seems like a lot of mystics might have an avoidant attachment style. So, because they can't find that solace from human interactions, like most of Homo sapiens after we evolved in tribes and families, they seem to get their connective needs met from this other source. And so they might be really into meditation and yoga, and entheogens is just a path for them to get those connection needs met. There's a difference between the older mystics who are motivated by love and the newer mystics who are motivated by personal power. The older mystics wanted to serve humanity or nature or what they call God, which to them was a consciousness or a life that they were a part of that permeated every part of the universe. They didn't want to do this because they wanted personal power. They wanted to do it out of love. The new mystics, who are usually avoidants, want power, want personal power. Even their service is usually towards people with less power than them, people who are unable to take care of themselves. Actually, the problem is not just that the people they serve are unable to take care of themselves, it's that there's a power imbalance and those people are not able to reciprocate in some way and take care of them also. So somehow things get perverted and co-opted. This beautiful desire to serve that the old mystics had, and a lot of people have, whether they're mystics or not, becomes like a way to avoid dealing with feelings of inferiority and shame and low self-esteem. So these people can have relationships with pets and children and underserved, poor people, refugees, bosses. They can be dominated in the bedroom and dominate outside the bedroom. But they can't have a relationship that's sharing power with a lover. That's just too hard for them. It reminds them of childhood traumas, and they also can't get peace from such a relationship. Those relationships seem dangerous, so they can get peace from yoga or meditation, being in nature, but not really from a lover. Yeah, it seems like avoidants have an advantage, a leg up on the rest of us when it comes to achieving union with the divine, enlightenment, samadhi, bliss, and they can just spiritually bypass the connection with other humans that the rest of us have to go through. They even think that the only purpose of a relationship with an adult human is to help them in their spiritual growth. It's very transactional. And yeah, it's all about them. It's all about them and their power and their peace and their enlightenment. Uh, Even when it seems like they want to serve others, it's still about others who are not in an equal position to them. I'm not saying the mystics of old were right either. I think they might have been too extreme in the other direction of reveling in their powerlessness in the face of the divine, submitting to it. And between these two extremes of total powerlessness and submission and total personal power and dominance, there is something called being a human being. So I hope we can strive towards that. Which brings me to another idea, which is something that John Michael Greer has called the shadow of the New Age movement, namely that these people, mostly avoidants, are not wanting to admit that though the world of the mind might be unlimited, the physical world, and especially the earth, has limits, and our physical bodies have limits. And yeah, that creates a certain humility, and we're all gonna die. We're all gonna get sick and die, and the only saving grace is love. Power is not gonna get us through that. The whole idea of loving yourself, it's a bit misguided. I can see you can give yourself compassion, but love is about communing with someone or something other than yourself, going beyond yourself. It's ironic that they don't want to acknowledge their bodies or minds or the limits of the earth, but um, they just also don't want to acknowledge that there is something beyond themselves. So, communing with something or someone outside of oneself, having boundaries that can be transcended, not used just to keep things or people out, but to commune beyond these boundaries. And that's what the avoidants would love to do, but they have no idea how to do it. What happened to them was painful, and yeah, trying to reach out and commune beyond the boundary was not seen by their caretakers and families. Instead, there was incoming boundary violations. So I don't know what to do about that with these people. Um, Perhaps it's just a matter of time, that they need a lot of time to trust. But if avoidants don't wish to have adult romantic partners, then they're actually better off. I think they have more resilience because of their avoidant attachment. Um, so this is something that should be tested empirically. I don't. I'm not aware of anybody having done this yet. There's a whole bunch of literature and research on resilience. It seems like avoidant attachment is just one strategy to have more resilience, but the cost is no romantic connections with adults.